Hey everyone, welcome to this review of the Sunlu T3 3D printer. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the features and performance of the printer, as well as sharing my overall thoughts on its quality and value. We'll open up the printer and inspect its mainboard, dissect the filament runout sensor, check the characteristics of the hot end, address some deficiencies, update the firmware, and print some benches. Sunlu sent out this printer as a prize to a competition I participated in, so there's no constraint placed on what I can say in this review. Everything is of my own opinion and volition. So without further delay, let's get to it. In the box we're provided with the following items. Some pliers, which is always good to have. Some big cable ties which do not appear to have any purpose with the exception of maybe securing the equipment in case you want to ship it back. A 24-volt power supply, a big scraper, mounting hardware in clearly labeled bags, a USB adapter for the provided 8MB SD card, a small roll of white PLA filament, a USB cable, a couple of keys for the nozzle and eccentric nuts on the roller wheel bearings, some smaller cable ties, an instruction pamphlet for assembly, and finally 2 parts of the 3D printer which we'll have to assemble. Now let's get to business. The assembly is relatively easy. We will use 4 screws to attach the Z-axis part of the printer to the base. The screws are inserted from the bottom of the printer. Having the base on the side may be a good idea to ease the assembly process. Once both sides are secured, we can tighten them all the way. For the next step, we mount the power supply to the frame, but not before checking that the power supply voltage is set to the standard in your region, 220 volts or 110. The power supply attaches to the rear of the printer using 2 screws inserted from the front as shown. Finally, we attach the provided spool holder to the top of the printer using 3 screws as shown. In terms of assembly, that's it. Some plus points for Sunlu for that. However, we are not yet ready to print, or at least print reliably as we will see a bit later. For now, let's take a look at some of the hardware features the printer comes with. Removing the X-gantry cover, we observe the hot end assembly, which consists of an MK8 nozzle, what appears to be a brass heater block, heat break and heat sink. This is not a full metal hot end, but PTFE lined heat break. This means that the PTFE tube goes straight through the heat break and it should sit flush with the nozzle. This is a typical setup on these types of printers, which brings some benefits and some drawbacks. While it may be less prone to clogs, you are limited in the temp ranges you may need as PTFE tube cannot safely handle higher temperatures. Next to the hot end assembly, we observe the BL Touch probe clone. This is a nice feature to have on any printer, especially at this price point. It should be able to provide consistent prints even if the bed is warped in some regions. Moving to the extruder assembly, we notice a dual-geared metal drive which should provide gripping force on both sides of the filament, as well as a filament runout sensor. Let's take a quick look inside the box and see how this advertised filament runout and clog detection work. While a typical runout sensor, where a little switch detects if filament is present or not, this implementation adopts a photoelectric sensor activated by a little spinning wheel. As the filament moves through the sensor, it spins the wheel and provides a reading to the sensor. If no movement is detected for a short amount of time, it will signal the printer to stop. With this, we get the advantage of detecting when the filament has run out, as well as no movement when a clog in the nozzle occurs. We can also see on the input of this sensor that Sunlu opted to add 2 small bearings to allow smoother filament movement into the assembly. Moving further, we see that the entire Z-axis is moved by a single lead screw. This means that we may have to deal with a drooping axis on one end and consequently take special care of adjusting the tension on the roller bearings. We should try and limit this effect as much as possible. On the front side, we observe a typical screen for this type of printer. Nothing special here, but in an effort to make the printer more compact, I suspect Sunlu moved the LCD screen inward. Unfortunately, this position obstructs the view at certain positions of the bed, making it difficult to see the status or to control the printer if need be. Next, let's dive deeper and take a look at some of the internals of the printer. Flipping the printer over, we can access the main board by removing the plastic cover as shown. Looking towards the center of the main board, we observe a 32-bit ARM processor. This is a step up from the 8-bit systems of the past, so a good choice here. I also searched around to find what type of stepper drivers the T3 is using, but I could not find anything readily available online. So I decided to use finesse and remove one of the heat sinks from the stepper driver. Doing so reveals a 2208 Trinamic driver, which does support quiet operation as advertised by Sunlu. And it's a step up from the noisy drivers that printers in this price range used to come with, like the A4988. Some plus points here as well, because this comes stock with the printer without having to purchase an upgraded silent board down the line. What doesn't appear to be a good choice is the cooling fan for the main board, which appears to be an afterthought by Sunlu when deciding its position. It is a noisy blower fan that has its airflow obstructed by a wire connector in front instead of mainly cooling the drivers and the processor. The 2208 stepper drivers have a tendency of getting hot when pushed, so I think a better airflow option could have been made. Let's move on to some of the other features of the printer. We also notice that it is equipped with a belt tensioner for the X and Y axis, which is a nice touch. Even though they are made of plastic, they should be able to do the job. We can also see that the springs used for bed leveling are stiffer than what you might get on other printers. And each corner has two tightening knobs, which should help securing the bed in the desired position. Looking further on the underside, we noticed an isolation pad that should help with bed heating efficiency and how quickly it reaches the desired temperature. Finally, we see that the printer comes with a flexible magnetic sheet that can be removed and easily detach prints. This is not a PEI sheet, but for as long as I have been using the printer, it has done a good job with bed adhesion and part removal. These are the main features of the Sunlu T3, and it looks to have nice features for this price point. Now let's see how well it prints. While the assembly process was straightforward, there were still some things that I needed to do in order to ensure good quality prints. Some of these extra steps are a result in part due to quality control oversight on Sunlu's part, but also standard practice for any 3D printer you might purchase or have to perform maintenance on. First, I decided to address the drooping X-axis by tightening the eccentric nuts on the roller wheels. Using the supplied wrench, tighten the eccentric nuts as shown. The wheel should be able to move in place when spun by hand using a moderate amount of force. We need to make sure this is done on both sides of the X-axis. Once the process is complete, we can observe that the free movement along the Z-axis is now more constrained. The wobble in the bed also needs to be addressed. We do this by tightening the eccentric nuts on the roller wheels under the bed in a similar fashion we did with the X-axis. Following the proper adjustment, we can see that the wobble is gone. Another issue I ran into was the grinding noise the bed made while moving along the Y-axis. It appears that the belt is grinding on some element, but I cannot clearly determine what that is at this point. Therefore, I decided to completely remove the plastic casing in order to reach the tensioner and the idler assembly. This process was tedious. There are quite a few screws placed in awkward positions which had to be removed in order to pull the plastic enclosure far enough to reveal the idler. It turns out that the idler was misaligned with relation to the path of the belt along the Y-axis. In short, I had to move the plastic casing up about 1 or 2 millimeters to eliminate the grinding noise. It may also be wise to check the alignment of the axis by using a right angle ruler and determine if any skewing is present between the X and Z aluminum profiles as well as the Z and Y profiles. In the next steps, we will turn on the printer and level the bed, as well as calibrate the Z offset of the leveling probe. Using the menu, we select the Z probe offset as shown, and allow the printer to home and position itself. Once positioned, we can take a piece of paper and modify the Z offset until we can feel the nozzle gripping the piece of paper. We confirm the value by pressing on the scroll wheel. We have to make sure that we save the new offset into memory. We navigate to the store settings and press the scroll wheel again. Next, we will use the manual leveling menu to level the corners of the bed. When in this mode, the print head will travel to each corner where it will wait for the user to adjust the bed knob. The nozzle should grip the paper, but still have freedom of movement. We'll repeat this for all 4 corners. At this point, I believe we are ready to start printing. One thing to note is that the SD card contains further information such as an assembly video, a user guide, a Sunlu product brochure, and 2 test models. One of the models appears to be a pen holder, while the other a very awkward looking benchy. I guess somebody wanted to put a creative twist to this model. For our tests, we will use the widely available unmodified benchy for determining the quality and performance. To achieve this, we must first download the model from the internet. In my case, I have downloaded it from the printables.com website. Next, we must slice the model in order to print it. Prusa slicer was used in this case, but there is no T3 model available as a preset. I decided to use the Ender 3v2 profile while modifying only the temperature for printing. Once the G-code has been generated, we can use the supplied USB adapter for the SD card to transfer the model to the printer. After inserting the card into the printer, we can select the model to be printed from the menu of the printer. The first benchy was printed with a 0.2 layer height and 200 degrees Celsius hot end temperature. As the T3 printer has a fast print setting, I decided for the first benchy to turn it off. This means that it should print at 40 mm per second speed and 500 acceleration. The first print concluded without issues, and the overall quality I would say is quite good. There's some minor stringing visible, but nothing to be concerned about. The print took about 2 hours to complete. For the second print, I decided to turn on fast printing. I also increased the hot end temperature to 210 degrees for the filament to cope better with the higher extrusion speed. We can clearly see the increased speed rate of the printing. However, the benchy produced in this mode does show signs of artifacts on overhangs and some other imperfections throughout the model. This run took about 1 hour to complete, but we can clearly see the difference in quality from the first model. Now, the firmware the printer came with is most likely T3's launch version. I decided to investigate and see if there is a newer version available. Checking the Sunlu website, I was able to find a new firmware version, which its description claims to improve surface print quality. While on their website, I also noticed that they released a source code for their firmware. The source code is good to have if you want to further tinker with the software. However, this is not the scope of this video, so I went ahead and downloaded the latest precompiled version to see if the print quality improves. To install the new firmware, I deleted everything from the SD card and copied the firmware.bin file provided in the package. To update the firmware, we must first turn off the printer, then insert the SD cards and finally turn the printer back on. During the printer boot up sequence, the new firmware will be installed. Checking the printer information, we can see that the new version has been installed successfully. Now let's go ahead and print another batch of benches, one with slow speed and one with fast printing. The slower bench also concluded in about 2 hours. No real quality difference can be observed between the first one and the benchy following the firmware update. So let's move on to the fast printing mode. The end result here is actually quite an improvement over the first fast printed benchy. In fact, it is almost indistinguishable from the standard speed one, with the exception of maybe some visible ghosting due to the increased acceleration and speed. If you plan to acquire this printer, I strongly encourage you to check the stock firmware version and update this to the newer iteration, as it seems to improve the fast print functionality substantially. I also wanted to test the power cut recovery of this printer. To simulate such condition, I turned off the power supply during printing process. Once powered back on, we are prompted to resume printing, allowing us to resume from where it left off. For the filament runout test, I decided to cut the filament mid-print and observe the behavior. In this scenario, the print did stop once the filament sensor detected no movement. Important to note that the hot end cools following this detection. Therefore, before replacing the filament, we have to reheat the nozzle. Remove the filament as shown and insert the new filament spool all the way to the hot end. During this process, the print head is conveniently positioned to the corner of the bed as to not interfere or deposit any ooze on the printed model. Once the filament is inserted, we can select to resume printing. We can see the results in this benching, proving that this functionality works as well. This brings us to the final thoughts of this printer. The Sunlu T3 is advertised as a fast-speed 250 mm per second printer. In theory, this kind of performance is achievable, but it's not as straightforward as it sounds. In order to reach those speeds, the printer needs to accelerate and deaccelerate. It appears that the precompiled firmware allows a maximum of 1500 mm per second squared acceleration, and on a model like the benchy, the higher speeds are hardly reached. The implementation of the fast print mode is a little elusive on what it does, but I believe that it doubles or triples the acceleration and speed values of your slicer. One thing to note is that when fast printing is on, it will still bypass the 1500 acceleration limit of the firmware depending on what you have previously selected. Sunlu also advertises the printer as being quiet, and to an extent it is, especially concerning the stepper motors. However, the mainboard, power supply, and hot end fans will put a dent into that claim as they are not that quiet. Additionally, following the easy assembly of the printer, you are not entirely ready to print. If you're new to 3D printing, you may not know what the next steps are or how to properly adjust the hardware. For this reason, I would advise Sunlu to also include a set of instructions on how to check for alignments, proper tensions, and other factors that would allow a beginner to accomplish good quality prints. In terms of hardware features, the printer has some nice additions such as the BL Touch probe clone, a photoelectric filament runout sensor, and a dual-geared metal extruder. The use of a 32-bit ARM processor and Trinamic stepper drivers also indicate that Sunlu has made an effort to include higher-end components in the printer. In conclusion, the Sunlu T3 3D printer is a solid choice for those looking for an affordable and reliable printer, with some nice added features. But do not expect anything revolutionary here. After all, this is another clone of the ever-popular Ender 3. At the time of this review, the printer is selling for about $200 on Sunlu's website, to which I will leave a link in the description. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.